myself here tonight. I meet her right outside. I'll drive myself home when I finish. Well, first of all, you are all very dear to me. You are my home chapter. I have been a member of this chapter and the association for 33 years. I'm not quite as long a member as Shirley, but if I'm lucky, I will live long enough to reach your record. And the most important thing to me is that we have a respectful, civil conversation about this. And we have had that tonight, and I thank you for that. I just came back from Chicago where I put on my Teflon jacket, spent 2 very good days with them, and they were respectful also. And I think in a face-to-face environment where we can talk about these things that we feel so profoundly and passionately about, that's a wonderful thing. I get to come after Gloria, who will live through this and have this as her claim to fame into eternity. And somebody said, you know, Ann Caputo, President SLA, comma, what would you put after the comma? And I would say peacemaker. Because whatever happens as a result of this, people who believe passionately, but in different ways, are going to have to come back together and be together as an association that we all love. So the first thing I would say is that I respect that passion. I respect the civility in which we have this conversation. I respect the listening that you have given each other and will give to me right now, whether you like it or not. And when this is over, whatever happens, we could be called, sorry, Gloria, the Swine Flu Association, Wet Dog Association. Turn off that camera back there. Because in some ways, although the name is important, there's no question about that, that's where the heat is in this discussion, it is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that we have, through enormous effort, learned some very valuable things about how the rest of the world views us and how we have to coexist with the rest of the world. So whether we're called ASKP, whether we're called SLA, or some other thing, the energy that you have generated in talking about this needs now to be channeled to make us the rulers of the information world, whatever we call ourselves. So that's where the hot moment is for me, is what happens next. And what happens next is not what we're going to call ourselves as much as just what we do with that knowledge. Somebody came up to me in Chicago as I was leaving and said, you know, you convinced me, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to go for it, but when it's behind us, how are you going to take us to the next step? How are you going to take the things that we have just learned and really go out and show our value, prove our value, make the value proposition, lead this to the next logical conclusion? So that's where I'm going. This name stuff is a temporary flurry of energy. And it will end, and some of you will be delighted, and some of you will not be delighted. And I'll be either delighted or not delighted myself, but that's not what I care about. What I care about is what happens next. And that's where we all need to come back together and move forward.